All right, welcome in. We are back for the Bicoastal Baseball Podcast exclusively on the Grid Network. I'm Mike Guido. That's Dalton Brown. It is great to have you here. And it's an exciting episode, obviously, for us, and it should be for everybody else, too, because baseball is officially back. We have regular season baseball games to talk about today. The first weekend of Major League Baseball is officially in the books. And listen, I think you and I, specifically Dalton, can walk away from this weekend pretty happy.
I mean, you can't do much better, right? I mean, you like when you start a new season, you're not all that worried. At least for me, I'm not all that worried about the results of the first weekend. You're kind of just like, all right, let's get our feet wet. Let's see how we look. But anytime you can sweep your opening weekend, and it makes you feel really good about the season ahead. So,
yep, it does.
Yeah.
So, listen, we've got plenty of stuff to go over today. As far as like guys that are surprising us, I mean, and we'll talk about it later, but guys like Chase DeLauder and Munetaka Murakami has been phenomenal, and Kevin McGonigal's off to a really solid start. Like, there's a lot of stuff to go on to talk about here. We obviously have previews for series coming up this week. We've got plenty of stuff to go over. And obviously, the way that this show works, we'll keep you updated on scores as they happen throughout tonight. But first, we start with our rants, as we do every time the regular season begins. Dodgers, Yankees. Dalton, you are once again the defending champs. So you have the honor of going first. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, look, as far as the Dodgers are concerned, really just kind of took care of business this weekend, and they were three really fun games. I mean, the Dodgers trailed in all three of them by multiple runs, and it just kind of felt inevitable that our offense in each game would eventually break through. Certainly was good to see Kyle Tucker come up with a few big hits, score a few runs. It is kind of funny, Shohei Ohtani batting 125 so far through the first weekend. So, not a lot from him. Obviously, I'm not worried about it after three games, but it was good to see Kyle Tucker hitting the ball. Mookie Betts came up with a few big hits. Will Smith, big home run on his bobblehead day and birthday on Saturday night, which was a lot of fun. So, the Dodgers are hitting the ground running. It seems generally the pitching a little bit shaky. Yamamoto was really solid. 6 innings, just gave up the one home run. Glasnow, okay. I think it looked shakier than it actually was for Glasnow. I mean, he still put up 6 innings, 2 runs, really high quality start, but it felt a little shaky to me at times. Sheehan, looks a little rusty. And I think part of what we're going to see early in the season with the Dodgers is they're going to be really cautious with their pitchers. They're working these guys in slowly and building them back up slowly after a very long fall of baseball for the second straight year. So, but the bullpen, Mike, that's the biggest thing I'm noticing right now. The Dodgers bullpen is lights out so far, which, again, it's only been 3 games and maybe 10 innings or so of action from the bullpen. But all 3 of these games, the reason the Dodgers were able to either overtake Arizona late or take the lead and extend it late is because their bullpen is just not giving up anything. Got to see 2 Edwin Diaz saves. Tanner Scott looks a lot better. Will Klein looks like he's carried over what he found in the postseason. Alex Vesia is back. So, we talk about how bullpens year over year can be somewhat random. Early returns on the Dodgers bullpen, hot take, it might be one of the best in baseball, which is really exciting.
Well, listen, I mean, if you look at the names in that bullpen, obviously you could expect that it's a very scary back end. And we talked about it during the offseason, Dalton, of like, the Dodgers' biggest weakness going into this offseason was, can they find stability in their bullpen? And they go out and they sign Edwin Diaz, and then you're like, okay, like now if there was a way to do it, I guess that would be it. So it certainly seems like the Dodgers have, they definitely have hit the ground running. I think it's, pretty impressive, especially in the fact that like these are not the super pretty wins that everybody was expecting that the Dodgers would be going through all season. Yeah, you're right. I mean, as far as like their starting pitching is concerned, I mean, as long as they can stay healthy by the end of the season, I think that's really the goal there. right? Like
Yeah.
that's going to be the big thing is if they can keep their pitching healthy long enough so that they can have them during the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where for me, I mean, the fact that Glasnow and Yamamoto are even throwing 6 innings at this stage is a little bit surprising to me. But they both looked solid enough, and I believe in Emmett Sheehan plenty. I think he'll come around. Very interested to see what we get from Roki Sasaki tonight. I have a hunch that he is just not ready for this stage yet at all. He feels like a bit of a head case to me, and I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if you fix that. Some of it feels to me like he might need to just become a bullpen arm. Like I certainly, there's nothing that happened in spring training that suggests that he's ready to take the mound as a starter in the major leagues. And yet here we are sending him out on the mound as a starter in the major league. So interested to see how that goes. Not confident all that much in him tonight. But one fun note on the Dodgers before we switch over to your Yankees. I believe the Dodgers are becoming the first team ever this week to start 3 consecutive Japanese-born pitchers. It'll be Sasaki tonight, Ohtani tomorrow, Yamamoto Wednesday against the Guardians. So that'll be fun.
There we go. And if there was going to be a team that would do that, Dalton, it would certainly be you guys. Let's be honest. Oh boy. Yeah. So all things going well for the Dodgers, as so for the Yankees. Sweep this weekend in San Francisco, giving up 1 run in 3 games. I mean, they really shut down the Giants. Max Fried was magical in the first game of that series. Same thing with Cam Schlittler in game 2 of that series. I texted you in particular, Dalton, about like during game 3. I was watching, I'm sorry, not game 3, game 2 of the Yankee Giants series. Like Cam Schlittler looks really good, dude. Like that guy's kind of nasty. His fastball's already up to 100, 5 1/3, 1 hit, no earned. He had 8 Ks in that game. And listen, I think you and I certainly both had our reservations about the Giants. I kind of liked them more than you did, but I did not expect this much of a struggle offensively for them. I thought at the very least they'd be able to hit a little bit. 1 run in 3 games is certainly concerning for them. But you know what was really the big thing that stuck out to me was even though Aaron Judge hit a couple of home runs this weekend, Aaron Judge did not play all that well this weekend, and the Yankees were still able to win games. That's really the part that stuck out to me is that they weren't overly Aaron Judge reliant, and especially in game 1 of that series where Aaron Judge was 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. Like he was awful in the first game of the season, and they were able to scratch across some runs. Ryan McMahon had had an RBI hit. Trent Grisham had an RBI hit. Cody Bellinger had a couple hits in that game. Like Jose Caballero had a hit in that game that drove in a run. So just the way that they were able to piece these things together. So I think there's a lot to like so far, as far as like the bullpen and everything, which is again a huge Yankee talking point. Now it looks actually kind of disgusting too. Camilo Doval was really great this weekend. Same thing with Tim Hill. Jake Bird looks like he might be a real get. Again, so it's still super, super early. I'm not going to overreact to anything, but this certainly looks like, a team where, I mean, a lot of people were saying it. I mean, Jeff Passan was saying it. Ken Rosenthal was saying, like, a lot of the big guys were saying, like, so many Yankee people were so upset about how the Yankees are running it back. And admittedly, I was like, all right, listen, I don't mind running it back, but do something. Like, make yourself a little bit better. But people forget this was the number 1 offense in the sport last year. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot to like right now about the Yankees. They obviously play tonight in Seattle, and then they finally go back home for the home opener against Miami. But I think it's hard to say that you wouldn't like what you see from the Yankees so far.
Yeah, I think what sticks out to me most is I mean, it's overly obvious, but it's the run prevention. I mean, the Giants are not a great offense, and that's not a great ballpark to hit in, but the Yankees scored, right? And that Giants offense has some names, right? And you think about like Rafi Devers is a guy who's killed the Yankees over the years. Between him, Adames, Chapman, like there are real hitters in that lineup, and the Yankees made it look pretty pretty easy on the mound. And the part of it for me that sticks out, I think you touched on Schlittler, and if he can perform that way for more often than not this season, right? That's going to really make this Yankees rotation special. But the bullpen as well, like when you're going out and you're just not giving up a run over the course of a weekend, or maybe was it the bullpen that gave up one run?
Who did give up the run? No, I think Will Warren gave up the run.
When you can come out and go scoreless over a full weekend as a bullpen, like that's a statement. And I know it's early, right? I don't want to say, okay, just like with the Dodgers, right? Like it doesn't mean that that's who they are, but it certainly doesn't mean that it's not who they are. Like it's a really good sign that you're able to do that. So, if the Yankees are going to be a lead out of the pen this year, that takes a little bit of pressure off their starting pitching as it gets healthier. And if Cam Schlittler can be that guy, well, now all of a sudden, if you do get to a point where everybody's healthy at once, which is what you hope for, and you've got Rodon, Fried, Cole, Schlittler, there all of a sudden there's a lot of options, and you're in a really good spot. So,
right,
the outlook for the Yankees is easily the ceiling of the American League if things break their way. And based on what we saw this weekend, I don't see why I wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree. And again, so many Yankee fans, and I think what the Yankees think internally as well is, well, there were a lot of blown opportunities last year. Like Devin Williams was not good for the Yankees last year. They really had trouble shutting the door in a lot of games. I mean, and you're talking about even if Devin Williams, cuts his blown saves in half, so yeah. Like if that's the case, and now you're looking at a 99 win team rather than a 94 win team, I think that's what the Yankees think that they are. If they can find some stability in their pitching staff, then they're going to figure out how to win a lot of games. They're going to win 99, 100 games and sit atop the American League. And so far, I think that they're certainly on the trajectory to do so.
Yeah. One other note on them, Mike, too. I'm really excited to see Ryan Weathers tonight, too.
Yeah.
Like this is a guy where the stuff has always been nasty. The question has always just been, can he stay healthy? Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget how young he is.
Yeah, no, he's a baby.
Yeah. Like the fact that he's already in his third organization is pretty nuts. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see him pitch tonight. I have a feeling he's going to be a big piece for the Yankees as well this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see him pitch too. I'd love to see what they do with him as far as because I think Ryan Weathers has a little bit of versatility to him. I think it depends on like when their pitchers get healthy. Are they going to continue starting him? Are they going to move him into more of a versatile relief role? Like I'm really curious to see how he does with us. And listen, the Yankees didn't give up nothing to get Ryan Weathers either. I mean, that was a package of like 4 guys and 2 prospects that they liked a lot. So again, we'll see how that goes. But all right, we'll give you a score update. The Royals beat the Twins today 3-1 in Kansas City. Kansas City now moves to 2-2. Simeon Woods Richardson was on the bump for Minnesota. Chris Bubich got the win for the Royals. 1 run on 2 hits in 6 innings. Chris Bubich maybe carrying over what he did last year. I mean, that would be huge for that rotation as well in Kansas City.
Yeah, and from the Twins' perspective, it's kind of been the same story for them so far. Like what I'm excited about for the Twins is I actually think their starting pitching this year is going to be better than people think. Like Simeon Woods Richardson looked pretty good today. You know what Joe Ryan is? Mick Abel has the stuff. Taj Bradley looked awesome in his first start in Baltimore. I think the Twins have a decent rotation. I think their bullpen is in okay shape, but we're seeing way too many of these types of games for them where they just can't hit.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because there's some talent there. And if they made a few investments, like this team could be pretty good in a hurry, but I don't know. I think they're better than what they've shown so far. Like I'm excited about guys like Luke Keeschel. But man, like I watched a lot of that game today. Outside of the Matt Wallner home run, just a rough watch on offense.
Yeah. The Texas Rangers have a 4-2 lead over the Orioles in Baltimore in the bottom of the 5th. The White Sox are up 8-3 on the Marlins in Miami. Could they get their first win of the season? They're up 8-3. Munetaka Murakami has not homered in this game. So Could he potentially be
Unbelievable.
slowing down? Right.
Yeah.
He's washed at this point. Nationals right now with a 7-2 lead over the Phillies in Philadelphia. That's in the bottom of the fifth. The Reds have a 2-0 lead over the Pirates in Cincinnati. That's in the top of the seventh. The Rockies, oh boy, would I love the Rockies to beat the Blue Jays in Toronto. They're up 2-1 in the top of the fourth. Still a lot of game left there. The A's are down 3-0 against Atlanta in the top of the fourth. Rays with a 1-0 lead over the Brewers in Milwaukee in the top of the third. The Cubs are up 3-0 in the top of the third over the Angels. That's in Chicago. Mets and Cardinals tied at 1 in the bottom of the second. Bottom of the first, still scoreless for the Red Sox and Astros in Houston. And then later tonight, a lot of West Coast games tonight. Again, Yankees and Mariners, that's in Seattle. That's Ryan Weathers and Luis Castillo. Pretty solid pitching matchup again for that. And like you said, I am really excited to see Ryan Weathers pitch. I'm going to go home right after this show, turn on the Yes Network, try to, dial into that game. Giants and Padres in San Diego. That's Landon Raup and Walker Buehler. Again, Walker Buehler now a San Diego Padre.
Not a fan. It's not my favorite.
The Guardians and Dodgers, obviously tonight in Los Angeles. That's Parker Messick and Roki Sasaki. Obviously, you were talking about the Roki Sasaki thing. Listen, the stuff's there for Sasaki. Yeah. Like, it's there, but you're right. You got to reel him in a little bit. You really do. He just needs time.
He doesn't locate it well, and so when he struggles to get in the zone, and then when he's in the zone, he's not competitively in the zone. He's throwing really hittable pitches.
Right, exactly. And then the Tigers and Diamondbacks tonight. That's in Arizona. That's Justin Verlander and Mike Soroka. That's in Arizona, like I said, between the Tigers and Diamondbacks. All right, so let's discuss. I brought up quickly Munetaka Murakami. Let's discuss some of these rookies that are really kind of making an impact here. And I want to start really because, like I said, I want to start with Murakami a little bit, just because he has been unbelievably impressive so far as the raw power. I mean, we really saw it again. He's homered in all three of his first three games. 333. He's got an 1871 OPS to start the year, which is, again, it's small sample size. He's got 9 at bats, but listen, the power's there, Dalton. Like, that's kind of what we thought, right? I mean, he's gonna, if he can improve the bat to ball, I mean, it's gonna be a lot of high exit velo for him. I mean, what have you made of what he's done so far?
Yeah, my first reaction, and I felt this way when I've watched clips of him in Japan, but that home run he hit on opening day in Milwaukee, there are certain players, and I don't know if this will make sense to you. I think it might. There are certain players that when you see them get into a ball, there's just a certain level of satisfying.
Yeah, right.
And he's got one of those just uppercut lefty swings that when he gets a hold of a ball, it looks like it's going 1,000 feet. Like,
even if he hits it 362.
Yeah, just the way he contacts the baseball when he gets one, you're like, holy cow.
Yeah, it makes you think what it sounds like up close.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, look, I mean, I hope for his sake that he has a great rookie year, because I think he'd be proving some people wrong. I think a lot of folks, ourselves included, talked about how, look, obviously the concern with him is can he make contact enough, right? Or can he actually be a hitter? And as opposed to just a guy that runs into one every once in a while. And early returns are really positive on that for him. So I would love to see him prove people wrong. It would also be cool to see White Sox fans have something to be excited about. Obviously that's not a team we expect to contend this year. Like, it's worth noting they still 0-3.
They're 0-3, right?
They got from them, but it's a fun story there. Mike, I want to talk about it because the AL Central is kind of the breeding ground right now for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, right.
How about Chase DeLauder, man?
Yeah.
He saw Murakami's 3 home runs and upped him to 4, and doing it in Seattle in that ballpark against that pitching staff. I mean, one of them that he hit the other night in the 9th inning, Oppo off of Andres Munoz. I mean, that was scary. Like, that pitch was up and away out of the zone, and he just pokes it into Edgars in left field.
Yeah.
I mean, between McGonigal in Detroit and DeLauder in Cleveland, two teams where we kind of looked at them and we said, you didn't really improve a lineup that wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
That helps.
Yeah. Oh, it certainly helps. And I mean, and especially for Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we really dogged Cleveland a few weeks ago, just saying like, look, dude, like your roster kind of sucks. And, you didn't really try to make it any better. We were even saying, I mean, we're just like, could you imagine, just imagine if the Guardians went out and signed Harrison Bader and signed Willie Castro and like how much better this lineup would look. And now they're, it's like, all right, non-roster invitee Rhys Hoskins, and that's pretty much all you did. So, yeah, I mean, we were dogging them quite a bit. Listen, I think if McGonigal turns out for the Tigers, that improves that lineup dramatically. It really, really does, because they needed a guy at the top of that order that could lengthen their lineup, right? It moves Riley Green down a spot. It moves Spencer Torkelson down a spot. It moves Kerry Carpenter down a spot. Gleyber Torres, it just gives a little bit more depth to that lineup. So that certainly is something that they needed. Kazuma Okamoto, I mean, I think you and I kind of had an idea of the upside for Okamoto maybe wasn't as high as what people expected out of Murakami.
Yeah.
But I think they thought the floor was higher. Like, this guy's got a real chance to translate and be, at the very least, a solid major leaguer. And the return for him has been fairly solid in Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he just fits right into that lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks natural. It feels like he's a great fit there. And, I think that's a Toronto offense that, I mean, even Vladdy, right? Like, we think of Vladdy as this huge power hitter. He doesn't really get, I mean, he's not a guy out there hitting 35, 40 home runs. He's 28, 29. And so that's a lineup that's built on a lot of guys who make a lot of contact. And I think he fits that profile well in Toronto. I mean, can he replace Bo Bichette? That's a big ask. But, I mean, early returns are really strong with him too.
I mean, if he can be healthier than Bo Bichette, I honestly think, I think Okamoto has at least I don't want to say potential, because he's 30. I don't think we're talking about super duper upside. But could he be an 800 OPS guy in the major leagues? I don't know that he can't be that.
Yeah.
And listen, if you're healthy and you can be an 800 OPS guy, you're replacing Bo Bichette at that point. You are. What was Bo Bichette's OPS last year? 815 or something like that? And he missed a month. So, if you can play 150 games and give yourself a 780 OPS, I mean, I think that's pretty. I think that's replacing Bo Bichette. So, there certainly is something to be said about that. Who's impressed you the most, though? Right? I mean, we've talked about DeLauder, but maybe outside of the obvious, right? Who have you kind of been more impressed by out of this group of young players?
Yeah, I mean, so DeLauder would be my answer, but in the interest of talking about somebody who we haven't talked a whole lot about yet, I think McGonigal in Detroit is going to be a real difference maker. I mean, 4 hits in his first major league game speaks for itself, but he brings a certain energy and swagger with his game that he feels like one of those guys that the way he plays is as if he is going to run through a wall at any given moment.
Yeah.
Right. There's a little bit of a Harrison Bader type energy to him in that way. But yeah, I mean, I think obviously, I don't know what he's hitting right now, 400 or 500 or whatever. That, obviously that's not going to happen, right? But same story there, where if he can be a guy that gives you some decent speed on the bases and can go 800, 850 OPS, that Tigers lineup is not as far away as Cleveland's or some others from being kind of upper echelon, right? I mean, you think about what Gleyber Torres can give you if he's going well. Riley Green, I think, has established himself as a top 20 to 25 outfielder. Kerry Carpenter, especially when he's facing righties, I've talked about how I want him to get more opportunities against lefties, right? He can hit. You think through that Tigers lineup actually starts looking a little bit longer if a guy like McGonigal can look the way he's looked so far. So, Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see if any of these rookies can help prepare or propel any of these AL Central teams specifically out of mediocrity.
Right. No, I mean, I think certainly that's the case. And if you think about it, I mean, McGonigal's kind of carried the Tigers so far this season. I mean, Riley Green is hitting 083. Kerry Carpenter is still hitless on the season. Spencer Torkelson's at 182. Javi Baez is 143. Gleyber Torres is at 222. Like, there's not a whole lot of offense going on in Detroit right now, but Kevin McGonigal's been the bright spot so far in that offense. So, and we certainly know what that pitching staff is, right? I mean, with Skubal and Framber Valdez, I mean, they can certainly get guys out. As far as like, I'll say this. I think when we talk about the Guardians, okay, like, is this going to be the reason why we're going to be looking back in September and they're going to be like, oh, they're in first place? Like, is this really going to be like another one of those, God damn it, like they did it to us again? Is that going to be the reason now?
I mean, it could be, right? Like, I mean, if you think about it this way, if Kwan can be the above average bat to ball, like guy that just sets the table, and DeLauder and Ramirez can both mash the way they like, what you're getting out of Ramirez, right? He's the best third baseman in baseball.
Right.
If DeLauder is all of a sudden a top 20 to 30 outfielder in baseball, then like, okay, it's still not a good lineup, but it's good enough that if the Guardians do their pitching magic and just find a way to get it, like if Tanner Bybee is just randomly an ace when they need him to be, sure. Like just like last year, there's a pathway. And again, a lot of it is they play in a bad division, right? Like, but I don't know.
When do we give the Guardians like Rays Brewers status? Like, when do we get there with them?
I think they already have it, to be honest.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean, Mike, you think about some of these teams that they've made the postseason with over the years. Like, I mean, we've seen a lot of like Austin Hedges at bats in the postseason. You know what I mean?
Listen, Big Christmas was hitting walk-off homers against the Yankees in the ALCS.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I think to me, they're in that same category as the Brewers and the Rays. And I mean, I don't know who else off the top of my head would go into that category, but teams that just overperform the actual roster and teams where you want to like shake the owner and be like, invest in this thing and look what you can do.
Yeah, right. Speaking of which, by the way, let's talk about some of the bigger positives and negatives as far as teams so far through the first weekend. What do you think? Like, let's start with the positive, right? Because we're a positive bunch on this show. Who's been like a real positive surprise for you as far as like a start of the season? And again, I feel like we talk about this every year, right about at this point, where we're like, listen, obviously the first series is the first series and it's a long way to go until the end of the season. But what's impressed you? Who's impressed you through the first weekend? Who's been the biggest surprise?
Well, it's hard not to give the Miami Marlins credit for going 3-0. Now, look, I know they played the Colorado Rockies, and I know they're down 9-3 already to the White Sox. But if the Marlins are gonna start the season with a sweep, Mike, I got to give them some love, right? And I mean, Sandy Alcantara, first start out, like, I mean, what did he give us? 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. So I mean, if that's who Sandy's going to be this year, I also think that the Marlins, like, I think they're just going to be a more fun team this year in general. I mean, like, you can already see what Owen Casey's giving them. Like, you think about Kyle Stowers and Jacob Marcy, and they have a lot of fun young players. We talked about this in the preview for the season, and so while beating the Marlins, or excuse me, while beating the Rockies 3 times in a row is nothing like super exciting. They could have lost 2 out of 3. Right.
No, right.
So I think the Marlins deserve credit for that. And I'll put it this way. I don't think the Marlins are bad anymore, which was fun.
No, I mean, listen, you and I talked about it before the season. Like, the Marlins look like they could actually be building something, right? And again, I think a lot of it hinders on the, like, all right, when they get to the point where they're about ready to compete, and that might be a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever it may be,
Right.
are they going to invest in it? And I think right now, just based on track record, the answer to that's going to be no. But I think we can hope that that's not the case. There certainly is a reason for them to like start feeling confident in this group, right? They have so many good young players, and obviously, I mean, that they've had the luxury of being able to subtract from their pitching staff to kind of balance out their roster a little bit, just because they've gotten so much out of their young pitching. Um, and who knows, maybe not trading Sandy Alcantara is going to work out for them in the benefit, in the work out for them in the long run, because it's going to give them an experienced pitcher at the top of that rotation that's pitched in a lot of games and might have the leader mentality and all that stuff. I mean, that could really work out for them.
And that would be really cool to see for Sandy Alcantara too. Like,
yeah,
just as a guy who's like been to the top and then seen it crash down around him, dealt with injuries, like to see him come back to prominence and lead a team, even if the Marlins were to somehow make a wild card this year, that'd be a great story. I would love to see it happen.
Right. No, certainly would. I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, I'm not really like positively surprised by really anything else. I mean, like the Nationals taking 2 out of 3. Okay. The Cardinals taking 2 out of 3. Okay. Like whatever. Let's kind of feed into the negative. Can I just like point out that, I mean, obviously in my mind, the first like negative surprise for me, and I wouldn't even really call it a surprise, but just should be pointed out. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than what the San Francisco Giants went through, right? I mean, that's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah. It's funny. You try not to pile on a guy too much when he's just starting his career as a manager, but a lot of people in baseball do not look all that fondly on a college manager getting this opportunity without ever having coached in the pros in any way. And, I think we talked about it preseason, like they're very different games, coaching in college and coaching in the majors. Like when you're coaching at the MLB level and you're coaching in college, you get really fiery with your team, right? You have a 56 game season. You got to treat every game like it's really important. In the pros, it's a little bit more of like a business-like mentality day in and day out, where you want to foster urgency. Obviously, you need your guys to care, but it's more of just like, hey, let's go to the ballpark. Let's do our job today. And I wonder if maybe that team is a little tight to start the season. Like maybe the messaging they're getting is not perfect and they're a little tight because, look, and some of it is it's 3 games. I don't want to overreact to anything, but like they looked really bad at the plate against the Yankees. I mean, they looked
lost. They really did.
And, goes without saying for the Giants, like things don't get a lot easier for them this season. Like,
right.
I mean, they're playing in that NL West. And I mean, you think about their schedule, like, I mean, even now, like they go straight from the Yankees to going and playing a San Diego team that's licking its wounds after losing 2 out of 3. Then they get the Mets for 4. Then they get the Phillies for 3. Then they go to Baltimore. Like
that's not easy.
No, I mean, you think about it for the Giants, like they could be 3-10 real quick and kind of be scrambling. And you wonder how a brand new manager handles that kind of thing. So
you're right.
And
that's also, I mean, I think it's important to point out, at least from the Giants' perspective too. I mean, we talked about it, before the season started, like their offense was supposed to kind of be their redeeming quality, right? They walk away from that series with the Yankees. And listen, obviously, as a Yankee fan, obviously, I want to give the Yankees credit as like, I think the Yankees are really good, but I also think like the Giants, like they got 1 hit by Cam Schlittler. Like that needs to not be a thing for them with a lineup with Devers and Arias and Adames and Chapman and Jung-Hoo Lee. Like you should be able to hit a little bit better than 1 run in 3 games.
I mean, you think about the juxtaposition that comes to mind for me is the Giants and the Diamondbacks, right? Mm-hmm. They're both 0-3, but the optics were totally different. Like Arizona came into that series and was competitive. Their starting pitching was pretty good. They took leads in all 3 games against the Dodgers, and Dodger Stadium just kind of overtook them late in each one of those games. Like at least if you're Arizona, you're like, man, our bullpen's kind of rough, but maybe we can turn that around as the season goes along. But
Right.
the lineup,
Corbin Burns is going to come back. Right.
yeah, you're like, okay, like we just got to weather the storm early. With the Giants, it's like, geez, man, like were we aware the season started?
Dude, like Logan Webb got blown up.
Blown up,
dude. Like they just, it was not. Now I will give some credit. Like Robbie Ray pitched pretty well. He did. Like Robbie Ray looked pretty good, but like you're looking at the top of that rotation as like that's going to be where a lot of your wins come from, because after those two top guys, there's a pretty significant fall, right? And the Giants at this point are, again, an offensive team in a not offensive ballpark. It's going to be tough, right? So that certainly is something too. There's another team I want to point out is just like a little bit of a disappointment for me, and I understand that they also played a team that's really good. I really was hoping a little bit more out of the A's. Like the A's got beat up by the Blue Jays pretty good. And listen, like I said, I think the Blue Jays are a very good baseball team, but I was expecting the A's to take one at least. Like,
you were certainly hoping they would.
Well, I mean, look, I think the A's are a team that are going to be a fun watch. I really do. But, just take one for me.
Well, I hear you in the sense that, like, in order for them to be as fun of a watch as we want them to be, they can't be 5-20 out the gate, right? Where it's just kind of like, well, all right, like air's already out of the tires. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, look, at least for Oakland, they are hitting. Like Shea Langoliers looks like the real deal. I mean, he could hit 40 homers this year. He really makes sense as a breakout candidate. So
Shea Langoliers is he's got to be a top 5 catcher in the game now, right? Like,
I would say for sure. Yeah,
he's got to.
I mean, between him, Soderstrom, Kurtz, Rooker, like this team's gonna hit, and so I just hope, like, I would love to see Severino have a good enough year to validate some of that. Like, if Aaron Savale cannot be terrible, like, I mean, Mike, we talked about it. We know what the A's are, right? They're going to hit, but they can't pitch worth a lick, and
they can't pitch, and they play in a launch pad of a ballpark.
Yeah, it's going to be like the middle game they played with Toronto, where it was 8-7. We're going to see a lot of that from them this year. Yeah. So I'm hoping that they don't lose all of them like that.
Yeah. Was there any other disappointment that you that stuck out to you from the first weekend?
I mean, there are a few that I could point to. I mean, I think Pittsburgh somewhat. Now, losing 2 out of 3 to the Mets is not necessarily like a huge deal, but the way that first game transpired, where you've got everybody watching in kind of a standalone opening
Paul
game.
Skeens got demolished.
But I mean, he did, but like it was more, it was what we talked about. Like O'Neal Cruz looked completely lost in center field.
Yeah.
And they look like this. They look like a team that is made up of a bunch of misfitting parts that have talent that don't know how to win together and don't have much of a chance of winning together.
Yeah.
And I feel for Pirates fans who were hoping that maybe this might be a year that they start to turn somewhat of a corner. Mm-hmm. I mean, another team that I think obviously probably deserves to be looked at a little bit is Philly. I mean, losing 2-3 to the Rangers, like, especially with what that NL East looks like, because the Braves, I mean, I got to give the Braves credit. Like, I'm not bought in on the Braves right now, but decent start for them, and they're up again tonight. Like, that's a division you're going to need to win games in. And Philly again down 9-2 tonight to Washington. Like, you're starting out 1-3 against the Rangers and Nationals. Like, I don't know, man. You just hope for a little better,
right? Well, and again, like, this is why I don't like when baseball fans talk about these games like they don't matter. Like, whatever, it's March or it's April, like whatever. Like, these games are nothing. Like, by the time the end of the season comes around and you're a half game out of first place, like,
you're gonna wish you had it.
It's right, exactly. You're gonna wish you didn't lose 9-2 against the Nationals on March 30th.
Yeah,
like, it's those kind of things. If you weren't gonna bring them up, I was, because I agree with you on Philly, and Philly on in their first game of the season lost in a really ugly way too. Like it just, I don't know. That's you definitely hope to see a little bit more from them. Let's look into this coming week, Dalton, about some of the series that we're going to be seeing this coming week. What's one that sticks out to you that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I've got two. I want to talk about one during the midweek and one over the weekend. Yankees Mariners. I mean, you're looking at probably the top two teams in the AL going at it, and it's a hot Yankees team that just won 3 in San Francisco. So I'm really interested to see kind of how the Mariners stack up in that matchup early in the season. Starting with the matchup with Ryan Weathers tonight, like it's a great test for him. That Mariners lineup is a top 5 to 10 at worst lineup in baseball. You're going to pitch on the road. Great, like throw into the fire type moment for him. So I'm excited to see that Yankees Mariners series. That one's compelling for a number of reasons and will probably have implications late in the season. Another one that is compelling to me in a little bit of a different way is the Red Sox Padres series at Fenway this weekend.
Yeah, I was looking at that one too.
That's just a fun matchup. I mean, I think those are two teams that I think the range of outcomes is pretty wide with. And so both of them, I think, are going to be going into that series saying, like, I don't know, what are we, right? I mean, you think about the Padres this weekend, like, kind of just flatly lose 2 out of 3 to Detroit and just kind of don't look great. They've got a lot to prove this year. Like, that win total preseason for them was sitting around 83, 84. The Red Sox expectations are a little higher, but in that division, you still might end up being the 4th best team.
Yeah.
So, that'll be those are two fun ones. I see Tristan mentioning Guardians, Dodgers. Listen, I think the Guardians have a great chance tonight against Roki Sasaki with the way he's looked, which we'll talk about that more in Hot Corner a little later.
Yeah. It's interesting because you brought up the Padres, and I was definitely looking at the Padres Red Sox series a little bit later in the week too. But I'm honestly still looking at the Padres Giants series early in the week.
Yeah.
Like I still think that one's got a little bit of something too, and not just between because this is not between two teams that are hot.
Yeah.
Like this is against two teams of like, okay, you kind of both looked kind of bad over the first weekend. Like, can one of you rebound against the other? I think that's going to be a big one of it too. Obviously, with it being a division matchup too in San Diego, I think that's going to be interesting as well. And I think Tristan's right about Guardians and Dodgers. I think that's going to be an interesting series too. Only for the fact, if for none other than it's the, Dalton v. Tristan series, but for none other than like you're talking about a roster as stacked as the Dodgers, right? Who's coming off of a sweep against a division rival. You have a series now against a team that is so clearly not as good as you, but somehow finds a way to win games. Like that part of it interests me. So that's certainly a series I'm going to be watching for. I think, honestly, like if you're asking me what I think the most interesting series of the week is, I do think it's Yankees Mariners. Like I think that is like that's the closest series we have this week to a potential like playoff environment. Like it's going to be those two teams. I think both of those teams are super strong as far as their pitching staff is concerned. Because like the Yankees are starting out this season with a 4-man rotation. The Mariners are going to see Max Fried tomorrow. So like.
Well, so that kind of goes both ways because the Mariners played a 4-game series to open up with Cleveland.
Right.
And so tomorrow night will be Max Fried and Logan Gilbert. So that especially because Gilbert, I mean, I wouldn't say he got roughed up, but the Guardians hit him around a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the Yankees and Guardians lineups are not exactly similar. So, kind of a prove-it spot for Gilbert. I want to touch on that Padres-Giants series that you mentioned because to me, those are two teams that like are kind of teetering a little bit on like, are we going to be relevant this year? If like, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Dodger guy, but like to me, if one of those teams gets swept in that series, like the voices are going to get louder, especially if it's the Giants. Like if the Giants like drop 2 out of 3 in San Diego or they lose that series with the schedule they have coming around, like I'm not kidding when I say the Giants might be out of this and trading pieces away by like mid-May. Like it could be that bad for them with how this starts.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fans need to kind of like look at that and say, like, they need to recognize that things happen in baseball faster than, like, it's a long season, but things in baseball happen faster than you think. It's not like you have, like, okay, like, yeah, it's the very beginning of the season. It's obviously late March. Like, we're right in the beginning of the year. But, like, if you don't figure it out in the first 2 weeks of the season, like, that completely changes your outlook.
Yeah.
Like, it really, really, it can spiral out of control fast. So I agree with you. I like I said, I think that series in particular has a lot of relevancy to it. All right, let me give you another score update. Still 4-2 between the Rangers and Orioles. That's in the bottom of the seventh. Rangers leading 4-2 in Baltimore. The White Sox 9-3. They're up 9-3 against the Marlins in Miami. They're in the top of the eighth. Again, you just touched on it. Nationals and Phillies. The Nationals right now up 9-2 heading into the bottom of the seventh. That's in Philadelphia. To who got roughed up in this game? I mean, it was Taiwan Walker gave up 6 earned on 10 hits and 4 2/3. Just got bludgeoned by the Nationals today. Jeez.
And look, he's not going to get a ton of leash with the Phillies. I mean, they've got some pitching depth coming up. I mean, you figure like Andrew Painter starting tomorrow. Eventually, they're going to have Wheeler coming back healthy. Like, I mean, if you're Taiwan Walker, this is not a good sign for your ability to hang in that rotation this year. Not that I think he's expecting to, but sheesh.
And Tristan Reyes in the comment section says, "Of course he did. He's awful."
Fair enough.
We're killing our chances of having Taiwan Walker on as a guest at any point.
That would really be. Can you imagine? Like, we get our first major league guest and it's Taiwan Walker. That would. What a strange world that would be.
No, you know what we need? Our first major league guest needs to be somebody from the Colorado Rockies.
I would love to talk with Ezekiel Tovar.
Oh boy. The Reds right now with a 2-0 lead over the Pirates. They're in the top of the ninth. That's in Cincinnati. So the Reds trying to shut the door on that. The Rockies still leading the Blue Jays 2-1. They're heading into the sixth. That's in Toronto. Oh, what I love it. Like I said, for the Blue Jays to lose a couple of games to Colorado at home. Braves up 3-0 against the A's. That's in Atlanta. That's in the top of the sixth. The Rays took the lead against the Brewers. They're up 1-0 in Milwaukee. They're heading up into the fifth. The Cubs with a 6-0 lead over the Angels right now in Chicago. Ryan Johnson of the Angels, 6 earned on 7 hits in 3 1/3 against these Cubbies. Ian Happ homered in that game. So they're up 6-0 right now in the bottom of the fourth. Mets and Cardinals still knotted at 1. It's the bottom of the fourth for them. The Astros with a 3-0 lead over the Red Sox in the bottom of the third. How did that happen? Carlos Correa and Yordan Alvarez hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the third. Off of Ranger Suarez. Ranger Suarez 3 earned on 6 hits in 2 1/3 in his Red Sox debut.
Not the start anybody was expecting there.
No, not. And by the way, let's talk about that for a second, Dalton, real quick, because that's now. I mean, Sonny Gray didn't look great in his Red Sox debut either. So now that's Sonny Gray and Ranger Suarez kind of getting hit a little bit in their first starts with the Red Sox. Is that a little bit? I mean, obviously, again, I want to point out it's so early, but is that a little concerning for you?
I would say not yet, but if it happens, let's say 2 out of the next 3 for those guys, like if they both go, like, let's say 3 out of their first 4 or 3 out of their first 5 outings are rough, yeah, I'd start to be concerned. But first outing, I'm usually willing to give guys at least a little bit of space.
Yeah. So there we go. There's your score update. Yankees Mariners again later tonight. Ryan Weathers and Luis Castillo in Seattle. I'll be watching that one when I get home. The Giants and Padres tonight. Landon Raup, Walker Buehler. That's in San Diego. Guardians and Dodgers. That's at Chavez Ravine. Parker Messick and Roki Sasaki on the bump for that. and then Tigers and Diamondbacks. That's in Arizona with Justin Verlander and Mike Soroka on the bump for that matchup. All right, we're actually done a little early today. Dalton, you got hot corner for us?
Yeah, I got hot corner, and I have a hot take as well.
Ooh.
I'm going to start with my hot take because it's just me bitching and moaning for a minute.
Isn't that what we do anyway? We just
have you, like, do you use the MLB at Bat app regularly?
I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, I don't know if anybody who's in our comments uses the MLB at Bat app regularly, but they made a change to their user interface that is driving me insane. Like, everything is just so much bigger and blockier and harder to use. And you used to be able to just jolt around this app and get the information you needed. And now it's just not functioning. And it's all because they tried to redesign it and get cute with it. And it was something that was great to begin with. So old man yells at cloud, fix the app, MLB, bring it back to the way it was before. So as far as the hot corner, I have 3 different bets on the Guardians Dodgers game tonight. And they're kind of all themed the same way. The first one, which is the one
hold on. By the way, the tracking starts now.
Okay. Yeah.
So by next week, we will have record of whether these hit or not.
Yeah, we'll write it down. So here you go. The official pick is the only one that I want tracked. The other ones I'll tell people what they are because I bet them, but the one that I feel best about that I want tracked. Mm-hmm. Guardians Dodgers, yes, run first inning. I got this at minus 105. That yes, there will be a run first inning. Yeah. Roki Sasaki in his spring training starts just comes out not throwing strikes. And I don't know that that's going to happen tonight, but there's a pretty good chance that happens tonight. Mm-hmm. And when you think about the way DeLauder is locked in right now and what Jose Ramirez can do, and even Kwan at the top of that lineup, like, I'm expecting either walks or him to leave something over the plate to one of those guys. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we get like a DeLauder solo shot at the top of the first and the Guardians immediately take a 1-0 lead. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And then you think about the bottom half. You've got Parker Messick, who looked decent down the stretch for the Guardians last year, but let's be real. You got Parker Messick making his season debut at Dodger Stadium with Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman coming up. Pretty good chance of a run coming in there. So to me, like, this is as good of a Yerfie as you're going to get. Everybody likes to bet Nerfies because they feel safer. Not here. This is either one of these teams is going to break the seal in the first inning of that game. So I feel good about that.
I like that.
The other 2, I'll mention them. I bet over 4.5 runs over the first 5 innings. Same thought process there. I think both these bullpens will settle that game down a little bit late, but I think early on, both these teams are going to score a little bit. And then I bet Dodgers team total over 4.5. That's something that I'll almost always play unless they're facing an ace for the opponent. The Dodgers consistently score 5 runs in a lot of their games at home. Parker Messick is not a guy that scares me off of that.
Yeah. Listen. All right. So the one you're tracking is the Yerfie.
It's the Yerfie. By the way, one more thing for anybody who's like watching this live, I just bet the Blue Jays live at minus 115 money line too. They're going to come back and beat Colorado in all likelihood. So just a note there as well.
No, they are not. They're not. They're going to sit there and they're going to continue to stink. That's what they're going to do. How has the scoring happened in that game, by the way?
Part of it is Colorado has played close games the last couple of days consecutively, including trying to close out a game yesterday that they didn't. So they've Colorado's high leverage relievers are high leverage relievers in quotes, right? But they've used their high leverage relievers over the last couple of days. So they're probably not that fresh tonight. They just had to travel from Miami to Toronto without an off day.
You're telling me that Victor Vodnik is not somebody that you're, screaming for the hills over?
Not really.
Oh, man. Well, Dalton, I hate to tell you that you're wrong to end the show, but the Blue Jays are definitely going to lose to the Rockies tonight. And I'm sorry to say,
I'm sure you'd love that.
Tomoyuki Sagano diced them up early in the game. All right, that does it for us. That's Dalton Brown. I'm Mike Guido. This is the Bicoastal Baseball Podcast exclusively on the Grid Network. We're ending a little early today, by the way. I think, and Dalton, this is our first show that's on schedule, I think, right?
Yeah, and look, I think part of it is there's not a ton to talk about after a few games, right? I mean, we're kind of we're kind of making a mountain out of a molehill with any story right now because truthfully, the sample sizes are so small. So
yeah,
I think the show will only get better as we go along.
yeah. And Philly, listen, oh, it's 4-1 Rockies. Let's go.
You're kidding. Wow. I hope people didn't take my advice then.
Oh my goodness.
Troy
Johnston.
Homers in TJ Rumfield. Household names in Colorado.
Yeah, listen, the TJ Rumfield, you mean ex-Yankee legend who we traded for Angel Chivilli? You mean that guy?
Yeah, that guy. Absolute legend.
Oh man, where's John Does Math to just go nuts in the comment section? All right. That does it for us. We'll see you next week.